I still remember the way his hands gripped my thighs, firm, sure, like he had been waiting years to touch me that way. My dress was up around my waist, my back pressed against the cold mirror of a downtown hotel room. The windows behind us overlooked Atlanta's skyline, but I could only see my reflection. And God, I looked like a stranger. I was not thinking about Daniel. I was not thinking about vows or the gold band I had slipped off and tucked into my purse in the elevator. I was not even thinking about consequences. I was thinking about Caleb, his breath hot on my neck, the way his mouth made me feel something I had not felt in a long time. Alive. Wanted. We had not made it to the bed. He had pulled my panties down in the hallway, right after he swiped the key card. I had wrapped my legs around his waist before the door even closed. And when he lifted me onto the dresser, all I could do was bite my lip and moan into his shoulder. I whispered his name like it was sacred. I clawed his back like I wanted to leave proof that he had been there. Because the truth is, I did. Welcome to the story. If you are new here, I am so glad you found this channel. And to my returning family, thank you for sticking around. You all are the heartbeat of this platform. If you have not hit that subscribe button yet, please do. That button is what fuels this channel, what pushes me to keep telling these raw, messy, real stories. And after this hook, I need you to tell me in the comments, have you ever been so deep in a lie, you started believing it? My name is Lauren Green, and I am a 38-year-old wife, mother of 2, and, well, something else I never thought I would become. A liar. Daniel, my husband, is a good man. That is what everyone says, and they are not wrong. He is kind, steady, always on time. He kisses my forehead every morning before leaving for work and brings me fresh coffee on Saturdays before the kids wake up. But there is a certain kind of loneliness that settles into a marriage when you stop seeing each other. I mean really seeing each other. He stopped touching me the way he used to. And I stopped caring whether he did. It started 3 months ago, when I joined a new gym to lose the stress weight, code 4, I hate my life and need an excuse to run away for an hour a day. That is where I met Caleb. He was my personal trainer. Mid-30s, tall, sharp jawline, honey brown eyes that made it hard to lie. The first thing he said to me was, "You do not look like someone who needs fixing." I laughed it off. I told him I was married. He said he was not asking for a date. I think that was the first lie I told myself, that I believed him. 2 weeks in, he started touching me more during workouts, adjusting my form, but lingering just a second too long. I started dressing differently. Tighter leggings. Shorter tops. Telling myself it was for motivation. But the day I imagined his hands on my waist during planks and felt that slow burn in my belly, I knew. We flirted shamelessly. Texted late. Shared playlists. The night it happened, Daniel was out of town on business in Denver. I told Caleb I was tired of playing pretend. He booked the hotel. I shaved my legs in the shower that afternoon and packed a silk dress I had not worn in years. He met me in the parking garage. I wore heels I could barely walk in. My heart was beating so loud, I was sure he could hear it. He touched the small of my back as we walked inside. When the elevator doors closed, he turned me around and kissed me like a man who had waited too damn long. I did not resist. I wanted him. Every bit of him. We did not speak much that night. Our bodies did all the talking. After the second round, I laid in his arms and told him I had never felt that good in my life. He kissed my forehead and said, "That is because you were finally honest with yourself." But I was not. Not really. Because when I got home the next morning, I kissed my kids, made pancakes, and smiled at Daniel's good morning text like nothing happened. I thought I could bury it. I thought it was just sex. But you cannot bury a wildfire in your soul. You cannot erase the taste of someone who made you feel real again. And you definitely cannot look your husband in the eye while your body still aches for another man. So, I lied. And I kept lying. But the worst lie I ever told was not about where I was that night. It was the lie I whispered every day after. I love you, Daniel. Because I only lied when I said I loved him. The first time Daniel touched me after Caleb, I almost flinched. We were in bed. It was a Wednesday night, and he had just come back from his 3-day trip. The kids were asleep. The lights were off, but I could feel his body inching closer to mine. His hands slid around my waist like it used to. He kissed my neck. I forced my smile. I opened my legs. I let him in. But the whole time, my mind was back in that hotel room, remembering the weight of Caleb's body pressing me against the mirror, the sound of my own voice begging him not to stop. With Daniel, it felt like I was acting in a movie I did not audition for anymore. My moans were quiet lies. My hands clenched the sheets, not from pleasure, but from guilt. I got up after and sat in the bathroom with the shower running, letting the hot steam swallow my tears. I hated myself. I hated how good Caleb had made me feel. I hated how ordinary Daniel's touch now seemed, like lukewarm coffee after tasting fire. That next morning, Daniel made me coffee like always. He kissed me on the cheek. He smiled like he had no idea his wife had slept with another man 2 nights before. That smile was a knife. Because I knew I had broken something in us, and he was still too blind to see it. But Caleb saw everything. He texted me after breakfast. Just 2 words, miss me? I stared at the screen for 5 full minutes before typing back. Do not text me again. He sent a voice note. I knew I should have deleted it, but I pressed play. Lauren, stop pretending. You do not want me to stop. You want me to say I will see you again. You want to feel like that again. So stop lying, to me and to yourself. I dropped my phone like it burned me. He was right. That was the worst part. He was right. The following week was torture. I avoided the gym. I pretended everything was normal. I baked cookies with my kids. I went on a date night with Daniel. We saw a movie. He held my hand. I laughed when he made stupid jokes. And every second, my chest was screaming. It would have been easier if Daniel had done something wrong, if he had cheated first, or stopped loving me. But he had not. He was still good. Still solid. Still the man I married 12 years ago in a white church in Tennessee with trembling hands and butterflies in my chest. But I was not the same woman. I had changed. I was darker now. Hungrier. And no amount of love could fill the space Caleb had cracked open inside me. 2 weeks passed. Then came our anniversary. Daniel booked a weekend trip to Savannah. It was sweet. Thoughtful. Something he had been planning for months. He even arranged childcare. I should have been grateful. I should have smiled and packed my bag with excitement. Instead, I spent half the night before the trip staring at Caleb's Instagram profile like a lunatic. He had posted a picture in the gym mirror. Shirtless. Smirking. The caption said, "Still here. Still burning." I hated how much that did to me. On the drive to Savannah, Daniel talked about memories. He reminded me of our honeymoon, the broken AC, the beach walks, the time he carried me half a mile because I got blisters from cheap sandals. I smiled and nodded. But in my mind, I was picturing Caleb, dripping sweat, eyes locked on mine, whispering things that made my skin melt. That night, Daniel and I had dinner by the water. He poured wine. We slow danced in the restaurant courtyard under string lights and the moon. It was everything a good wife would want. But all I felt was numb. After dinner, I went into the hotel bathroom and locked the door. I stared at my reflection, whispering, "Just stop. You are here. You chose him. Be in it." I lasted 15 minutes. I told Daniel I had a headache. I went down to the bar alone and ordered whiskey. Caleb texted me 30 minutes later. I miss the way you taste. I blinked. Then I typed, where are you? He sent a location. He was in Savannah. He had followed me. He said he wanted to see if I meant it when I said goodbye. I should have blocked him. Should have gone back to the room and curled up beside my husband. But I walked out of that bar like my feet belonged to someone else. I got in an Uber. And 10 minutes later, I was in a different hotel, in a different room, with a different man. The sex was rough this time. Faster. Angrier. He was not gentle like the first time. And I did not want him to be. After, I sat on the edge of the bed, naked, shaking, staring at the city lights out the window. Caleb lit a cigarette and blew the smoke toward the ceiling. You do not love him, he said, like it was a fact. I turned to him. I do. I have to. He looked at me, eyes low. No, you do not. You just want to believe you do because it is safer than admitting you fell for the wrong man. I said nothing. I got dressed. I left without saying goodbye. And when I got back to the hotel, Daniel was asleep, mouth slightly open, one arm stretched across my pillow. I slipped under the covers beside him. He stirred, mumbled, I love you, and pulled me closer. And I said it back. I love you too. But I knew. Right then, as I lay beside the man I had betrayed twice in 1 week, I knew the truth. I only lied when I said I loved him. It all unraveled on a Sunday. Not a dramatic weekday fight. Not a screaming match in the middle of the night. No storm, no thunder. Just a quiet, simple Sunday morning in our perfect suburban home. The smell of waffles. Cartoons humming in the background. The kids still in pajamas, giggling over syrup and strawberries. Daniel had just come back from the grocery store. He was unloading the trunk. I was at the kitchen sink, rinsing dishes, humming some old Maroon 5 song. Everything felt too normal. Too easy. Then I heard his voice. Sharp. Cold. A sound I had never heard come out of his mouth. Lauren. Come here. Now. I turned off the water. My heart dropped. The kids looked up. I told them everything was fine, kissed their heads, and walked outside. He stood behind the car, holding something in his hand. A phone. But not his. Mine. The backup phone I thought I had hidden under the floorboard in my closet, in a shoebox of old scarves. Caleb's texts. The photos. The voice notes. The location history. Every disgusting, brutal detail was right there. And Daniel, sweet Daniel, had gone looking. He had never looked before. He just stared at me. I was cleaning the closet, he said. I was trying to find that old gray scarf you liked. For Savannah. Because I thought maybe if I brought it to you, you would smile like you used to. I opened my mouth, but nothing came out. You were so distant. So far away. I thought maybe you were depressed. Maybe you were tired of me. I never imagined this. The phone shook in his hand. Who is he? He asked. I swallowed. My throat felt like gravel. Someone I met at the gym. How long? 3 months. Was it just once? Silence. His chest rose. Jesus, Lauren. He threw the phone against the driveway. It shattered. Pieces flew. A neighbor's dog barked. Somewhere in the distance, a lawnmower buzzed like nothing was wrong. But everything was wrong. He walked back into the house. I followed him. The kids were still watching cartoons, unaware. He went into our bedroom, shut the door, and locked it. I sat on the hallway floor, knees pulled to my chest. And I stayed there for hours. By the next morning, he was gone. Took a suitcase, his work laptop, and left a note. I do not know who you are anymore. I need space. The kids deserve better than this. I sat at the kitchen table and read that note 25 times. That same day, Caleb called. I did not answer. He called again. I picked up. You told him? No. He found out. You okay? No. He was quiet. I want to see you, he said. And that was when it hit me. I did not want to see him. Not anymore. He had been a flame. A drug. A thrill. But when the smoke cleared, all I could see was ashes. Burnt memories. Charred promises. I had lost everything. I had taken a good man, a good home, a quiet life, and smashed it with my bare hands for someone who never even asked me how I slept at night. That week, the house felt colder. The kids asked where Daddy went. I told them he had a work trip. I started sleeping on the couch. I called Daniel once. He did not answer. I left a voicemail. I am sorry. I do not know how to fix it. But I will spend the rest of my life trying. He never called back. 3 weeks later, he came home, not to stay, but to pack the rest of his things. I offered to leave. He said he wanted the kids to stay where they were. We barely spoke. But when he was walking out the door, I asked, "Do you hate me?" He turned. His eyes were glassy. Broken. "No," he said. "I just do not know how to love someone who looked me in the eye every day and lied." I cried that night until my skin hurt. But the real punch came a month later. My best friend, Haley, texted me a screenshot. A post from Caleb's Instagram. A picture of him with another woman, dark hair, tan skin, holding a baby. The caption said, "Finally whole." I blinked. Scrolled. Found more. They had been together for a year. On and off. She lived in Florida. He had posted photos with her just days before our first night in the hotel. I had been a side piece. The side piece of a man I destroyed my marriage for. And suddenly, it made sense. The passion. The recklessness. The lack of questions. He never cared if I left my husband, because he never planned to stay. He just wanted the thrill. And I was dumb enough to give it to him. Now, I live alone. Daniel moved into an apartment 2 miles away. We share custody. The kids ask questions I do not always know how to answer. But I tell them the truth in pieces, age-appropriate fragments. When I see Daniel now, he smiles politely. But it is not the same smile. It is colder. Guarded. I miss the way he used to touch my back when I cooked. The way he used to laugh when I said something stupid. I miss being the woman he trusted. But most of all, I miss who I was before I let Caleb undress my loneliness. I told myself it was love. But it never was. It was attention. It was validation. It was lust in disguise. And the sad truth? The only time I ever really lied in that entire marriage was when I said I loved Daniel after I had already stopped showing it. Now, I say nothing. Because I only lied when I said I loved him. And I have to live with that.